Have you ever been struck by overwhelm and overthinking your floral compositions, or just confused on how to even get started or what to fill your sketchbook with? This video is going to tackle that exactly. This is an exercise in not overthinking too much when you're painting and letting go a little bit of that fear of getting started and perfectionism. Okay, I always have my 2 jars of water, some paints here, which I'm going to wake up, and a round brush. I will list all of my most used supplies in the description if you're interested. I like to keep 2 colors for florals that are similar but not identical. So one's more leaning pinkish red, one's more of an orange. And that way you can add some visual interest into your petals and the colors will blend together nicely and go together when you do the wet on wet technique. I'm going to start building in the center of this floral. Now, it's not really a specific flower, but I'm kind of imagining a peony or a type of rose, so petals are a little bit floppy and wider, a little bit like a ball in the center. And then you can also pull out a few extra petals along the bottom and give it a little bit of structure. If you get too much paint and water, you can use that pickup technique, which is just rinsing your brush and then dabbing it on your towel, and then you can pick up any extra color or water, and that will keep some of your petals still loose and translucent. Okay, we're moving on to our second floral. Now, while the first one dries, don't overthink it, just let it go and let it do its thing. We are going to start the same technique, building in that center ball type shape in the center, and then pulling out a few extra smaller loose petals on the edges. And it's really that simple. We're going to move on now and do some of the greenery. So I'm picking up the 2 types of green I have. This is a limited color palette on purpose because also you can overthink colors if you have too many choices. So if that is something you struggle with, just limit your color palette, limit your choices, and it'll be a little bit easier just to get going. To keep my floral leaves very loose and floppy, I'm holding the brush up towards the back end, so from that halfway point and back to the end. That will keep your control a little bit less. You're holding a little bit less tighter on the handle of the brush, and so you're intentionally allowing that brush to be a little loose and wiggly, and that's what's giving the floppiness to the leaves. As far as placement, I'm just finding little areas between the florals and underneath that look like they would naturally be there. I'm really not planning it out too much. So if that's scary, I know that sometimes, you can sketch out placement and work on your composition. However, I highly encourage you going fearless and just trying it and going for it. And the more you do it, the easier you will have muscle memory in your hand and the more confident you'll feel with the marks you're making. All right, so for the second floral, they're a little smaller than those first ones that we did. These are bluish purple. Again, I'm using just 2 colors and going in between to give little visual interest so that they blend on their own. And it could be a daisy, it could be a cornflower, it could be aster. It's that type of a small floral with more thin petals and going in a circle around. And the centers we'll put in after they've dried a little bit. And also, just to add a little more interest, you can have these littler flowers pointing in different directions. So maybe a few of them you can see top down, so you'll see the center. Some are on their side, so you won't see them, and you'll just see a side profile angle. Okay, and then we can rinse our brush and add in the thin stems for each of these new florals that we just added. Remember, just to keep it light, and you can always go back and add more, so if you're not sure, start with less and then continue to add as you take breaks and take a look at it. All right, so a little bit of that greenery got into my floral there, so I'm using that pickup technique just to bring back some of that pinkish red color in there. Okay, now that the little blue flowers have dried a little bit, they're still damp, but I'm going in and adding a little bit of a yellow center and just using little dots. And it's okay if they touch some of those edges. They will do that wet on wet technique and give you some beautiful mixes. My main florals have also dried a little, so they're a little damp, but I'm going in with some stronger colors and pulling out some more definition for some of the petals. And I'm also going to go ahead and add a little bit yellow into the two pink florals. That would be technically a third color, but go with your instinct. If you feel like doing that, go ahead, or stick to the two and keep it very loose and minimal as well. So that was my steps at a sort of fresh, loose approach to painting florals in your sketchbook. I hope it was helpful. I hope you had fun painting along. And if you did, you might enjoy this video next, which is on screen and it's linked. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.